Hello and welcome back to another out of spec detailing video here from Clear Detailing in Northern Colorado. Next to me, we have my colleague Jordan's brand new rear wheel drive Model 3 long range. And Kyle Connor, of course, over on Out of Spec Reviews has called this the best car in the world. And today we're gonna see how well this car is put together in terms of build quality. We're gonna walk around the vehicle, seeing how the fit and finish is, talking about panel gaps, and really see how this thing is truly screwed together. We'll jump inside as well, talk a lot about the interior because this is honestly an unbelievably nice place to be with high quality materials for a very inexpensive vehicle. And we also are going to have Jordan here on camera that he's had this car for 7 days now, and I think has washed it for 7 days, and he just keeps cleaning this darn thing. So let's jump in and see how this thing's screwed together. This is the new base Model 3. This actually replaces the LFP rear wheel drive Model 3 with the Panasonic battery pack in it. And Jordan just took delivery of this quite literally 7 days ago. So MSRP on this car, Jordan, $42,500, correct?
Yeah, $43,500 with the white interior, but yeah, the base price is $42,500.
So in this configuration, $43,500, we've got the free color, the stealth gray. Not your first choice, of course. You were really wanting Quicksilver. Dave just got a Quicksilver one. Kyle's like, let's get this thing wrapped, make it a little unique. More on that later. I'm sure we can do more on this detailing channel about that. But honestly, the value of this car is pretty crazy. Unreal range, unbelievable interior, and a super efficient, one of the most efficient cars we've ever tested. Am I correct?
Yeah, I'm getting 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour everywhere all the time. So it's extremely efficient. Like you said, about 385 miles on a charge.
Wow.
At highway speed, by the way. So around town, I'm getting even a bit more than that. So it's just magic. This was a star in our recent I-90 surge over on Out of Spec Motoring, where we raced 10 cars across country. Spoiler alert, this got basically second place behind the Taycan.
Second place.
Yeah.
For a base Model 3 is insane.
Base model. And Tesla gave us that car, which by the way, it's for sale now. We found it online.
Oh, we should definitely buy that.
Yeah.
Kyle needs another Model 3.
We asked them if we could lease that car instead of this one, and they said yes, and then Colorado said no. So
interesting.
There's a mileage limit on leases for Colorado when you can take delivery of it. Anyways, that car was so good. Tesla gave it to us because they said it would do well. That was the one car that wasn't planned to be in that race, because we're like, oh, well, let's take a Model S. Clearly, that's the best one. It probably, I bet a new like long range Model S would have pretty much tied, but because we had Kyle's Plaid with a little bit less efficiency and stuff, it was a little bit behind us. But
I don't know though, dude. This thing is so unbelievably efficient.
Magical.
Charges reasonably well. It's not the best charging vehicle out there, especially when you get up into higher state of charges.
Yep.
But man, the value proposition here is truly crazy. So Jordan ended up leasing this around $420 a month.
420, yes, sir.
Great Tesla number, of course, and put, you know, a couple $1,000 out of pocket with taxes, fees, all of that fun stuff.
Really zero down except for the taxes and fees. And it could have been a bit cheaper, but we did the 2-year lease instead of 3-year, which raised the price a bit. And then we did 15,000 miles a year instead of 12 or 10, which also raised the price a bit. So it could have been like in the 300s of a dollar per month lease, which is crazy. Like we said, for this car with the class leading software, heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, I mean, all the tech, and it's a good place to be, like you said too.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, genuinely, guys, the Model 3 is kind of the go-to vehicle. How many Model 3s do we have in our, not only work environment here, but just our immediate friend group? I mean, Andreas drives a Model 3. He's got the all-wheel drive variant of your car. My dad drives a Model 3 Performance. I've had 2 Model 3s. Kyle has a Model 3. Timon has a Model 3.
Kyle's dad has a Model 3, yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, I can't even keep track of how many Model 3s we have, because honestly, it's kind of just the go-to.
It's a requirement to have. I think Kyle would have fired me if I didn't get one eventually.
Yeah, at some point for sure. So that's what I'm really curious about this car. Honestly, the real value here too is if you even purchase this car, Jordan, because you can take advantage of $7,500 federal tax credit. Now that this doesn't have the LFP pack in it,
Yep.
you can also take advantage of state incentives here in Colorado. I believe it's $5,350. So you're really talking about finally now the $35,000 Model 3 if you go purchase it. So let's really just see how this thing's screwed together. I think Jordan's making sure this thing is absolutely perfectly clean. Who knows? Will he ever stop? Not quite sure. So Jordan, you took delivery of this down at Aurora. Did anything stand out to you in terms of fit and finish? Are you seeing panel gaps that are like, whoa, they're way out of whack?
Nothing way out of whack. We noticed, I think right here, the smallest paint chip. Can I even see? Oh, there we go. See it on camera. That's pretty much all.
So that's actually not a paint chip, Jordan.
Oh.
That is a dust nib that was in there. They sanded over the top of that. And that's what happens when you take dust nibs out. So that is not a rock chip.
Okay. Well.
So one thing I've been seeing with a lot of Model 3s lately, I've been highly critical of them because Tesla's been really struggling in the paint department, both on Stealth Gray, even on the Quicksilver. We've got a Quicksilver Model 3 Performance that I just detailed over there. That car had severe issues. If you're interested in paint quality, yikes, that was not that great. In all honesty, I've looked around this car a little bit, see a few dust nibs. We're not really going to get into the paint here. I've covered this extensively, but I just want to see what Jordan's car looks like when we're almost a year into production of the new Highland generation. So really just looking around, panel gaps, fit and finish, see a few small things here. Jordan, my initial impression, this one actually looks quite a bit better than a lot of them out there. Now, with these videos, they do get quite long. Chapterize this out so you guys can skip over the stuff you don't care about, skip to the stuff you really do care about. Also, we're getting nitpicky. If you don't like nitpicky stuff, don't watch these videos. You can comment all you want. We're gonna nitpick. That's what we do on build quality videos. So let's start here on the hood. Now with me, I also have this little guy. This is a panel gap tool, and essentially it's got millimeter marks on here, and we can stick it in here and see how thick or how small or tight the tolerances are throughout this vehicle. Now, traditionally, when I look at panels that open, hood, doors, trunk, anything like that, looking for around 4 millimeters of gap, I think that's kind of the ideal perfect gapping here. I'll tell you here, Jordan, though, your hood's a lot tighter than that, and that's not a bad thing. It actually looks very tight throughout. So I'm looking here, that's a 3 millimeter gap. If I pop this up here, we're looking about 4 millimeters. So you can see a little of those tolerances are slightly off. Come down here, about 3 to 4. Come down here, less than 3 here. One thing though, I am very glad to see is how flush this fits all the way through. Doesn't look weird whatsoever. Actually looks pretty nice and tight. So small discrepancies in terms of the actual millimeter gapping. Looks wise though, Jordan. Oh, Jordan's gonna keep cleaning.
Yeah, sorry.
You just got schmutz everywhere all over this thing. Of course, brand new Tesla.
When I get home, I'll clean it again.
Yeah, Jordan's just cleaning this thing. He just keeps cleaning. He's like, "Do you have a rag? I need to clean this off real quick."
I don't actually clean the whole time. Just saying.
We're just making a
This
joke.
is a bit at this point, but I do like clean things. I'm just clarifying.
It's funny. When you get a new car like this, it's exciting. It's fun. You want to keep it clean.
I've never had a new car.
And this is your first new
Yeah.
car. That's awesome.
So.
Yeah. I'm the other way. I will like not purchase used vehicles because I just want a car fresh that's not been completely destroyed. But Jordan, dude, look at all these tolerances here. Front bumper to fender, man, perfectly tight. Yep, make sure the viewers can see it.
Very good.
I'm gonna notice something here. My car does the same thing. Come around this front side. See how this bumper flares out? They all struggle with this. I'm not sure what it is. And yours definitely not as bad as I've seen. What about this particular side? Same thing going on over here. So as you see this, kind of flicks out there.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know if, because you would think like this should sit farther out like that and make that more even, but they always have this kind of flick. It's almost like they measured the fenders and then the bumpers and they're like, meh, I don't know, it's fine, slap it on there, whatever. But honestly, it looks really good. Other than that, I would say headlights fit amazingly nice here. Jordan, what's your thoughts on the front end of the new Model 3?
So I definitely like it, but I will say just seeing this much bumper right here, just a big slab. I mean, of course it's broken up by the little slit grill down there, but just the big slab I don't love that. I love the design of the headlights. I really do think it looks good, but I also like the old Model 3, and I prefer the old Model 3 in the fact that it had these
Vents.
well, yeah, the inlets here, which the Performance does. This is the Performance.
New Model 3 Performance looks great.
Though, yeah, this thing just looks fantastic. Looks the spec. Love the silver wheels on the Quicksilver. That's a great vibe with the wide interior. Great. This just breaks up the bumper nicely.
Totally agree. This just looks very base model, which it is a base model.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's very efficient. So we both know and all know by now, performance is not efficiency king. This
Right.
Isn't this 100 miles more than the Performance?
About 80, about 90 miles more. Yeah,
That's actually quite a bit.
But you're right. Like this fascia is so boring and flat looking, but that also allows it to be completely like aerodynamic and optimized for efficiency, which is why I'm glad to run it. I mean, this is the car that I think, and I might even do a video on this, a lot of people could actually get away with level 1 charging, because you can go so far with so little energy. So
Sure.
a lot of people without crazy commutes could just live on a 110 outlet.
Dude, I lived on a 110 outlet with both my Performance and my long range all-wheel drive Model 3 and my wife's ID4. If you don't have a big commute, you don't need to go install thousands of dollars worth of charging at home. Now, of course, there's lots of incentives and things like that, but I do think that's a consideration. Even if you live in an apartment or something, you do have access to a level 2. I know it's hard for a lot of folks out in California, even here in apartment complexes. I really wish we'd start to see more of that because, yeah, it is hard for some people. Say you're renting somewhere, Jordan. You're not ideally going to go throw a couple $1,000s in worth of charging, where with this thing, yeah, you could literally live off a 110 outlet.
And sometimes renting, you're not even allowed to install level 2. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's a very, very good point there. And yeah, magical efficiency here. And I think that has to do with a lot of the new styling. Tesla talked a lot about that. I really think it has a lot to do with the tires as well.
Yep.
That's my personal opinion. We did a review of the Model 3 Performance factory wheels versus Martian 18-inch wheels with these tires on it. Big difference there. I personally feel like that's a lot more down to the tire than the aerodynamicness of the actual wheel, but I don't know. Interesting points there. So let's walk around the passenger side here. Just start looking at all these tolerances. Honestly, Jordan, dang, dude. This is looking pretty sharp. It's been a while since I've seen a Model 3 that I'm like, wow, this looks pretty good. Let's take some quick measurements. 4mm gapping, right under 4mm, within the same reason.
Colton, this is my
4mm.
Singer Model 3.
This is your Singer Model 3. That's a great point. So Singer, if you guys don't know, they build multi-million dollar Porsches. Essentially, they take an old Porsche, tear the body off of it, make a whole new carbon fiber body for it. They shave down the doors to exactly 4mm on every single panel. So I'm calling that should be the industry standard. I know that sounds crazy, but I really think a lot of manufacturers can do a very nice job in getting those gappings really nice. BMW i7, Jordan, I just did a review on that. Holy cow. That thing out of this park, like, killed everything in the build quality analysis. It was nearly flawless.
Yep.
Pretty impressive. So looking down here, doors fit incredibly nice. This all lines up great. Jordan, my Model 3 Performance, my 2023, every single door I had adjusted from brand new.
Ooh.
Within a week.
See, and that's interesting because we went down to take delivery of this, me and Kyle and Alyssa and Andreas. We had a whole party coming to look at it. I was expecting to bring things up to them, you know, a handful of things, be like, okay, this will all need to be fixed, but that's okay. I was expecting that. And we couldn't really find anything except for something in the interior, which we'll get to in a bit. But exterior
And driver's side door, I know Andreas pointed that out. We'll talk a little bit about that. So, you know, from your expectation, you've been around Teslas, you've been around the industry. You're someone who, I'd say Jordan is kind of a high quality type fella. He likes nice things at some points. Like, he'll spend up for his coffee machines and stuff like that because he appreciates quality. What do you think about the Model 3? Do you really care if doors are hanging off? Is it just like, whatever?
I think I had a level of tolerance I was gonna have, and my tolerance is probably gonna be higher than some other people. Like,
Okay.
I wasn't gonna return it if like this panel gap was like a little bit bigger than that one or something. Like, I just wouldn't care, especially being a lease. I think
Sure.
if this was a purchase, I would have felt a bit differently.
Yeah.
But being a lease, I'm just, You know, I'm not gonna necessarily keep it at 30% state of charge. I'm not gonna like do the crazy long term. Like I'm gonna really live with it. I'm gonna try to live with it like most people would, and also have the, you know, you and I can nitpick things to death. That's what we're doing in this video. But I also wanted to have the approach of like, okay, what if I'm not nitpicking? Like what would most people be okay with? And I think you could agree, most people would take delivery of this car without even a thought.
I would take delivery of this car, quickly walk around it, and honestly get a good impression of it. And honestly, Jordan, I'd be okay with this so far. There may be a few small little things that I'd be like, okay, I may massage those out. I may try and fix them myself. I may send it to Tesla. For me, doors have always been a big issue with Tesla. Mine were literally having a hard time closing in mine because the tolerances were so far off that slam the door and it's like not shutting properly. So yeah, I totally agree. I think these are okay to have a balanced, nuanced conversation. And like some people should really care if, you know, even if you're spending $40,000, you don't want panels hanging off of your car, rattling to death. Like that's not a good experience, but that's why we do these videos, is so that you guys can see what these cars actually look like. This is a customer delivered vehicle. Tesla's not prepping this car for us to make videos with and anything like that. Jordan just ordered one. I actually think you found an inventory one even, right?
Well, I was going to select the inventory one, and then I was like, let's see what happens if I don't. So I just ordered one generically and selected a different location than where the inventory one was, and they still sent me to the inventory location. So they matched it up. But that meant, you know, delivery very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. It was within 2 weeks.
2 weeks or so, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, especially because I know when I've ordered cars through Tesla, it was months at the time. That was during COVID and all that crazy.
And I had someone use my referral on Monday, and they took delivery yesterday.
Wow.
So someone else bought or leased or whatever a Model 3 after the video. I guess the video went up Sunday or Monday, so I think they used it Tuesday. It was like 3 days between I got the referral notification and then I got the delivery notification for them. Yeah,
lots of cars in inventory. I don't know how a lot of people feel like that. I don't know if those, for me, inventory cars are always scary with Tesla because I'm like, oh, somebody definitely rejected that and you don't know what you're getting into. I purchased my Performance in inventory. I don't know if that was the case of it. Again, I had quite a few issues on it. But dude, just looking down the side of this thing, like nothing is standing out to me. Honestly, nothing. The doors are fitting very nice. All of this looks pretty fantastic. This area, Jordan, is great because this is an area Tesla's always struggled with.
It's usually a problem. Yeah, you're right. It's really, usually there's like huge gap here or it's like really uneven. And I was mentally prepared for that. And I just haven't really seen anything. So
I think what's going on here is essentially they have these struts in here. My dad's actually failed on his 2023 Model 3 Performance as well, and he had them replaced, and now this sticks up like crazy, and it's driving him absolutely nuts. So I think that's probably what's causing it. But yeah, dude, this looks super tight. All the gapping here, perfectly flush with the window. I've seen a lot of this rubber gaskets in here really start to get a little bit warped and things like that. And then even, dude, look at this. Fantastic throughout. I'm impressed with that, honestly.
Yeah, same.
I'm shocked because, dude, I've been working on performances for a while now. I can go through this car and like tolerances on this way worse than this. I don't know how that makes a difference because it literally has just different bumpers on that car, different seats, carbon fiber on it. But like, yeah, it's a pretty big difference. Now we get though down to the passenger side and I'm seeing, or the driver's side, and I'm seeing a few small little areas. First off, this is not fitting perfectly flush here. You can see it's sticking out a little bit. I don't really know why that's the case there because, Jordan, the door fits perfect. And most people don't really know that these window moldings actually fit into a channel over this. So it really comes with the door. Now, flip around this way. Look at that driver's door. That's for sure off.
Yep, that's a little bit off. Not crazy, but I think most people wouldn't have noticed, but I think...
Yeah, I think that's like kind of at that point, you just kind of hit it at one angle and you go, oh, wow, that's pretty off. Yeah. So you can definitely see up here, this isn't lining up perfectly. Let's just take a quick measurement in here. Yeah, less than 5 millimeters. So that's at a 4 gap. I would say this is the weird thing and it's sitting out a little bit farther. Jordan, the weird thing though, it lines up almost perfect down there. So we just reviewed the Cybertruck, right? It literally 15 minutes before this. And the bottom of the doors would be perfect. And then one of the top doors was like this, and then the other part was crooked. So I don't know if that's like a manufacturing thing. I don't really think it's for how the car's actually screwed together. It's pretty weird. Other things that I'm thinking here. Looks tight. The glass looks great up top, Jordan.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
Really nicely lined up.
Yeah, I just had a Quicksilver Model 3 Performance. The sunroof was completely sunken down here, and you had this huge, very odd-looking gap. I'd say this looks pretty darn good. Man, dude, honestly.
Sorry, there's not much to talk about, man. Sorry, I brought you
That's
a good car.
That is good. That's what I want to see. I don't want to keep making these videos with Tesla and say, guys, what are you doing here? Like, that to me is completely frustrating. So I really like to see this. You know, I am noticing one thing over here, Jordan. This is a very common, typical issue. See how this rubber's sticking out super weird? That's something that's not super ideal. But again,
yeah.
are most people going to notice that? No, I notice it because when I clean cars, I'm like literally this far away from it, you know, doing that type of stuff. So that's why I see these things quite a bit more. So exterior fit and finish on Jordan's example of the base model, cheapest Model 3, almost exceptional in all honesty. Pretty darn good in all honesty. I do want to check your rear trunk back here. That's one area we didn't check. Nice smooth actuation there. Look how close this gets here.
Yeah.
Watch when this goes down. I always think, I'm like, oh, if that's off even sort of, oh my God. That is really close.
Wild.
I mean, dude, even taillights here, area they've struggled with, this all looks fantastic. Jordan's, of course, charging. He has the most efficient Model 3. He's at 53%. And
Hey, you're going to say always, ABC, always be charging, always be cleaning.
Of course. That's how we all do this. But yeah, dude, pretty impressed with this. One thing I didn't remember is that this is all textured black plastic here.
Yeah.
Whereas on the Performance, you get this same material here. It's like a satin painted finish.
Oh.
Definitely think this looks nicer. The whole rear diffuser is the same as this, not as that. So they look very similar, but still very different. So
interesting.
Exterior fit and finish. Dang, dude. Exceptional. I guess let's jump inside because this is where the Model 3 for me really takes it to a whole new level.
They've taken it to a whole new level with this new one because the old one was fine, but like minimalist to a fault, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll agree.
I would agree. And lots of a little bit cheaper plastics, but we've been over this interior quite a bit. I just think it is such a nice place to be. Jordan, though, there's something seriously wrong with your interior.
So the base model does not come with floor mats, which is what other car comes with ventilated seats but not floor mats? That's crazy to me.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I don't get that. Like, even I guess you can probably add it as an option, maybe. But like, why doesn't it just come with base carpet floor mats? Now, I will make the argument. Tesla has some of the worst carpet floor mats in the entire market. I take them out immediately, but still, even from delivery day till when you get your floor mats. I do. They're upstairs. They don't fit these though. Oh. Because they're different. Yeah, I actually do have mine. I think they've been in my car for all of driving back from the dealership.
That's hilarious.
So I will give some argument there. For a lot of people, that's going to be really annoying. Let's say you don't live in Colorado. You're probably not rocking all-weather floor mats all the time, so you're going to go something with carpet. So I will say that's a little bit annoying. But dude, this interior is super nice.
It's so nice. It is minimalist like before, but like they've improved it with the ambient lighting. Really adds a lot. Nice door thunk right there.
Super nice.
And just the material, this thing on the dash now.
This looks so much better than the Performance.
So Andreas hates this. He covered his with suede.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like this though.
Yeah,
this cloth up here has a very nice texture and it actually feels very premium. You know what's interesting is I believe the Model 3s for Mexico are coming with this material in the seat.
Oh.
Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, they have like, I think it's the insert here.
That's cool.
All that material.
I want
which
that.
I think would be really, really cool. I'm not a big cloth interior guy, but I very much like a lot of new textile materials on vehicles. And yeah, I think it looks very cool. But yeah, Andreas does not like this material. I don't know. For me, it kind of looks out of place. So you can see it here on the center console.
Yeah. So he actually wrapped these and that with Alcantara, kind of a suede thing, kind of like the Cybertruck headliner that we saw.
Yeah. I don't know. You can personalize these as you want. The new center console is fantastic.
Yep.
The biggest thing with this car, though, Jordan, every single thing you touch feels high quality.
Yeah.
Every single thing. Like, dude, even down here, this is all leather wrap. This is not plastic anymore.
Yeah.
So I just reviewed Chevy Blazer EV, Chevy Equinox, Mach-E Rally. Those are all cars that are substantially more expensive by $10,000, $20,000, $25,000. This is all crap plastic down here. And I am very impressed with that. The way Tesla has done that.
And the NVH in here is great. And even, you know, remember the old Model 3s where it's just like, this felt terrible, especially the first couple of years.
Yep.
Now this feels and looks premium.
Looks like a Model S. I mean, it is exactly out of a Model S.
I do have to also nitpick and just be like, well, there's no USB-C ports in here. That would have been a very obvious place to put them. They have one right here. And then they have two in the back. I think there's only three. Someone correct me if I'm like missing something, but
yeah, so my Model 3 has two here and two there. And not one in the armrest.
Yeah, so they've just have the one here and then two back here, so three total. They are high power. So they do put out quite a bit.
65 watt?
I think it's 65 if you're using two, or maybe 40 if you're using all three, or something like that. Someone commented the split before.
Yeah, I saw that on Brandon's post. I mean, pretty interesting. That's reasonably high power, so that's great to see.
But these are decent Qi chargers. I wish they were Qi 2. I wish they were MagSafe. I'm sure you can maybe modify that, but just everything, even the steering wheel feels great.
That's my biggest gripe.
Okay, it's your gripe.
I don't like the steering wheel whatsoever. It's not about the stocks, okay? I've gotten over the stock thing, and why is that? Because I use sexy buttons. This is not a sponsored thing. I just genuinely use them. I put the blinkers on the back of my steering wheel. I don't use the stocks anymore. And I don't really mind the drive and reverse on the screen in this. For me, annoyance, having only one hand, you know, popping my hand over to click the buttons on there, not a huge fan of. The biggest thing I don't like about the steering wheel, Jordan, is where they put the stitching. The stitching is on the back, and I play with it 24/7 when I drive these cars.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to be able to get back there. Yeah, you can see it, and it's very jagged on your hands, and I just sit there and fiddle with it the whole time, where a normal steering wheel is on the inside edge, where your fingers and hand are not touching it.
Yep.
So that's a little strange and weird to me. I don't like that whatsoever.
That's where they went, I think, too minimalist with the design. Like, because it looks very clean from the driver's perspective. That's why they're doing it. But I agree. I love the buttons now. Driving like Kyle's Plaid, which has the same type of turn signals, but they're just like capacitive wheels or buttons that don't have much of a response.
That's interesting, because I think the Plaid ones are better than this.
Really?
Yes, and I think Kyle's the same way, if I remember right. But I like Cybertrucks.
Cybertrucks are great,
Yeah. I don't know. It's just little things. And these are nitpicks of, you know, preference. And that's why I wanted to have Jordan here of like, hey, he can say some things that he likes versus what I like. And honestly, I'm impressed with the Model 3 interior. My biggest issues have been the steering wheel, the lack of stocks. I can get over the lack of stocks because now I know you can do sexy buttons in this car.
Yep.
I'm curious, Jordan, can you open up your glove box, see if this still has the crazy sound in this? So very smooth when it opens. These have magnets on them now, and this used to be so loud. Let's see. No, it's still loud.
Cool. Echoed throughout your entire shop.
Yeah, just this crack. I mean, it sounds kind of nice, but the first time I closed that, it was like, oh my God, what gun just shot off in here? It's crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy. But yeah, dude, the door panels over here, super nice. Now, one thing you didn't like was this. So if you get a black interior, this is all micro suede.
It's kind of like this material, actually.
I thought it was like that, the Alcantara.
No, I don't remember. I thought it was more like this.
Sorry. Yeah. I am thinking of the all-wheel drive, which gets the micro suede. The rear-wheel drive gets that. Very confusing.
Yeah.
Where is Tesla going to the point of they have 4 different door panels now?
Why is that?
Tesla is best part is no part.
Does anyone want to trade me door panels?
That's crazy. But I honestly think this brightens up the interior a lot, especially when you get the white. Personally, I don't think you can get a Model 3 or any Tesla for that matter, other than Cybertruck, without getting white interior. It makes it so much nicer feeling.
It does. It just looks really nice and spacious, and I love it. Yep.
Really brightens the interior up. One thing I will tell you from new Model 3 Highland that I didn't expect, a lot of people are complaining about this being carpet now, Jordan.
Oh, really?
So they swapped this from a very crummy textured black plastic that would scratch very easily. The problem is you get all of this in here, and I've been seeing it where people get in and out, they hit their feet on here, and it just kind of makes this carpet go down, and it looks pretty nasty. So a lot of customers, pretty much every single one of mine, have been saying, I really like the plastic on here better. I don't know. It's just one of those things.
NVH is definitely improved in the new Model 3. I think we can both agree. And
besides performance in terms of rattles.
Yeah, okay.
They got something weird going on with performance. I don't know what it is. Dude, I have been in, it's got to be 10 to 15 different Highlands at this point. The ones with the cloth piece up here never rattle. The ones with the carbon, i.e. the performances, always rattle. I'll overlay a clip here.
Interesting. That's not good. Get the base model, folks.
It's bad. Yeah, just get the base model. Not really. I would get the performance, but yeah, I mean, honestly.
How hard is it to swap that piece? Can you just take, if you have a performance?
That's what I don't know.
Can you grab?
So my other Quicksilver Model 3 that just literally left this morning, 2 hours ago, his carbon piece, he drove out of the dealership and the whole car is rattling from the dash. Like, it is so loud and annoying. He asked them basically to replace it or fix it. And what I've been seeing is a lot of people are complaining that you have to take the entire dash out to replace just that. I don't personally think that's actually true, because I can lift up on this. Unless it's screwed from the bottom, which it may be. I really think this is probably just clipped in though.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if they've actually screwed this in.
Yeah.
So we need a fix for that. I've heard there's a service bulletin for it. Your Model 3 doesn't rattle, so that's great. Performances are really struggling with this though.
The only rattle I've found so far occurs only when music is decently loud from the driver's door, I think kind of up in this area.
Interesting.
But that's the only thing I've found so far.
1 hour later.
I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a slight rattle coming from up there now. So that's a bummer. Can't hear it with podcast or music or anything. It's very subtle, but when it's silent, you can actually hear it. We also mentioned, or forgot to mention, sorry, the steering wheel is slightly off. I'm trying to show you that, but I'm tracking, like the alignment's straight, but the steering wheel itself is listing lazily to the left. And so that's a very common issue with Model 3s, or even Teslas in general, actually. Kyle's had that with pretty much all of his Teslas. So one thing I mentioned, that's probably gonna be something I get fixed at service, but it is funny that I just left Coleton's shop and suddenly there's a rattle. The car got scared or something, and we forgot to mention the steering wheel while we were filming. But only with music.
It is. This car is magically quiet compared to old Model 3.
Yeah.
Definitely a big difference. I will say it's not as much as I expected. Dude, my EV9 is much quieter than this car, which is saying something.
Yeah.
So just wanted to put that out there. But like, all these materials, dude, like even this, no more crappy plastics here. They've done such a nice job with this interior. The only place I wish they would fix is this bottom like seat plastic. That's a minor gripe. This over here is kind of this hard, cheap plastic and scratches very easily, especially if you have, you know, ladies with rings, even dudes wearing rings can really scratch that up moving the seat. But yeah, pretty impressed with it. Let's jump to the back seat. So still a great place to be, honestly, Jordan. Dude, even this back here is all kind of a softer touch material. It's not just hard, cheap plastic.
Yeah, it looks good too.
So nice. Again, no carpet floor mat, which is just crazy. But yeah, what do you think about these not having like a side piece on them? So like you can throw stuff and they're just going to fall out the backs?
I don't think it matters. Maybe I'm one of the people that forget seat pockets are a thing. Seat back pockets. I literally don't think I've ever used one. So,
really?
Yeah.
Dude, the amount of stuff I see as a detailer in there. I had one customer years and years ago that their kids really liked eating a lot of fast food, and they would shove all their ketchup packets in there.
Oh my gosh.
And it got to the point where it exploded over time.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty nasty. So I've cleaned out some nasty areas like that. But yeah, dude, the back seat here is pretty nice. The only thing I'll say, still my complaint, the back seat has less room than the old car.
Yeah.
It definitely does. It is something to do with how the seat fits. That'll be my only complaint. I'll stop talking about it. I don't fit that well in these seats. I think it's the angle of the back of the seat, and you sit naturally farther back, which as this roof slopes, Jesus, as the roof slopes down, your head naturally falls farther back into the glass.
Yeah.
Jordan's got plenty of room up there. I really don't when I sit in there. So Jordan's good. Reasonable amount of legroom. This is not a huge roomy car. This is not even like, you know, Model S size.
Yep.
It's a compact vehicle, but yeah, lots of nice features. The new screen back here in the Model 3, I think it's cool, especially if you have kids. They can watch movies and YouTube and whatever on there. I will say I feel like it's too far down.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it slightly up because you were just like craning your neck looking at it. I don't think it's that useful. Is it a nice feature? Yes. I'm just surprised they threw that in, even on the base Model 3.
Right.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I guess it's nice. It's a techie thing. It makes it look like even more intriguing for someone to upgrade.
Wow, that is a sensitive button there.
So I think it's more of a selling point, not necessarily the most practical thing, but I do like having some control back here. So the screen I think works to me as a control thing. I just don't think it's good as a media thing, because you're right, you're craning your neck, whereas if you're just reaching to adjust your climate and then you look back up, totally fine.
I mean, I think it's really nice because rear passengers in old Model 3 would have to like yell up front, hey, can you turn on my heated seat? And then there was always the game of like, it's 90 degrees outside and you quickly turn on the rear heated seat because they don't know. And they're like, I am freaking dying back here. What's going on?
Wait, can you film me? Alyssa got to remove the front screen protector, but this one I just noticed is still on. So it's my turn. Felt great.
So nice.
I see why Alyssa always does that.
Yeah, dude, I love unwrapping cars. It is just the greatest thing ever. Now it is actually officially a used vehicle. It's normally only the front screen, then it's a used vehicle.
Yep. Now it's used. Sorry, Tesla. It is crazy that they're selling the car we used for the cross country. We put 6,500 miles on that car, and they're selling it as a demo car with 6,500 miles. So they're selling it new.
Yeah, most manufacturers, like press vehicles, don't they just crush them afterwards?
Yeah, well, this wasn't a press vehicle. That's why.
Oh,
they
that's
took
a good
it
point.
off the lot, and so now they're selling it as new, but discounted.
Well, had some sweaty boys in that car.
Someone's discount, which is cool, but yeah.
So last couple things I want to check here, Jordan. Let's just quickly talk about storage space. So back here, I have a very nice rear trunk, tons of opening, a few small changes back here. Again, this is all carpet now, and this whole piece is carpet. I think that little type of stuff, Jordan, actually helps a lot with NVH and
so
boominess
too.
as well. And you definitely, plenty of space. Throw that away. Nobody needs that.
I'm gonna hold it on there forever.
Just hold on to it.
You want to see what I'm keeping in the Frunk forever too?
Ooh, yes.
Let's pop the...
Jordan's gonna have cleaning supplies overflowing out of there, I think. I wish there was a easier way to open up the front trunk.
Yeah, I wish there was a hidden button or something.
It's not bad, but like you just having to reach in there is kind of meh.
So it was delivered with this piece of paper with a with a 1 on it. So I'm gonna keep it there as long as humanly possible.
You're number 1, dude.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
So actually, I can now say, in the delivery video, people were wondering what I was going to name this car.
1.
2. It's the silver medal emoji because we got second in the race. So
I think it needs to be 1.
Me and Andreas have a group chat that's called
hilarious.
just the silver medal emoji. Everything's just second. We're just second place.
It's hilarious, dude. So up here, only thing that I can really notice that's changed. You now have your wiper cap here, which is great. I think that's way easier.
Oh.
Used to be way up there.
Yep.
It's kind of annoying. So, yeah, dude, great Model 3 here, Jordan.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got an exceptionally good one or what's going on because, I've been seeing a lot of these cars lately and have been pretty disappointed, so much to the point of, like, I'm really wanting to upgrade to a Quicksilver Model 3 Performance, but I'm not really interested in upgrading because of how shoddy the build quality and especially paint quality has been. So, well, thanks guys for watching this one. I think Jordan's going to just continue his entire Saturday here cleaning up this car.
This area.
You're going to rub this paint off this damn thing.
then we'll wrap it.
Yeah, then we're going to wrap it. Can we give any spoilers to colors you're thinking for your wrap?
I'm obsessed with green. I love green. And so
Like a BRG or like a lime green?
Well, see, here's the thing. I was thinking a nice, I think matte wraps are overdone on Teslas, but there was a like metallic satin dark kind of British racing green. I think that with bronze wheels would be so cool.
Yeah.
Kyle vetoed it because he doesn't like the any sort of matte or even satin wrap. So we are doing a glossy, and I think maybe...
You should definitely go satin. I hate gloss wraps.
Really? Yeah.
Yes, gloss wraps scratch. They look terrible over time. You see more orange peel in them. I would highly advise you to not do a matte wrap, but do satin.
Okay.
Satin's the way to go. So yeah. One last thing, Jordan.
Yep.
Can you pull one of these aero covers off here?
Oh, no, I've never done that.
Let's see how hard or easy these are to do. I like the wheels underneath here, actually.
Really? Okay, not too bad.
They're in.
as I start struggling.
That's always how it goes. I always say, "Oh, this looks great," and then the next panel is terrible. Dude, those are good-looking wheels.
Yeah.
I like them.
All right, I'll just be.
They're
They're okay, but I am, of course, going to be throwing a set of Martian wheels on this thing. We got some snow tires from Nokian, so this will be a fun and interesting. A lot of people. The more questions than I've gotten about anything else is how will the rear wheel drive be in snow?
To me, it's all down to tire.
It is all down to tire, which is what we're going to prove with Nokian tires.
Yeah, if you're running these all seasons, also known as no seasons, on a very snowy, icy day here in Colorado, you're going to be flying around struggling for grip. If you throw on some Nokian Hakkapeliitta R5s or some studded tires, you're rocking and rolling, dude.
Yeah, I did almost slide right into the vacuum cleaners at the auto wash on the way here. And I pulled out of the automatic, it's a touchless wash, by the way. I pulled out of the touchless wash, and then the car just kept sliding sideways. And I was like,
was it icy?
It was icy. And I was like,
Nice.
What in the world? And there's this like brick wall with vacuums. I was like, well, totaling my car on the way to Coleton.
So, Jordan, you've washed your car twice today then. Jesus. Unbelievable. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you in another one soon. Bye-bye.